On January 4th, 2023, Anna's employer in Washington, D.C. reported her missing, prompting a police investigation. The authorities spoke with Brian to gather information about Anna's disappearance. There's no evidence of her being picked up by a ride-share service, reaching the airport, or using her credit cards post-disappearance. Moreover, cell phone activity near their Massachusetts home contradicts Brian's account. The police expanded their investigation to scrutinize her husband's activities on January 2nd, discovering inconsistencies in his claims. Who was Anna and Brian Walsh? What happened to them? Who killed Anna? Who was the culprit? This is your partner in crime stories. Subscribe, and let's move along this mysterious journey ahead. Once upon a time, in early January 2023, Brian and Anna Walsh lived in Cohasset, Massachusetts, with their 3 young sons. Brian, aged 47, and Anna, aged 39, had been married since December 21st, 2015. Anna worked as a regional manager for a real estate firm in Washington, D.C., while Brian faced legal trouble. He was under house arrest, pending sentencing for his involvement in a fraud case related to the sale of counterfeit paintings. Due to his legal issues, Brian couldn't move with Anna and their children to Washington, D.C., forcing Anna to travel back and forth for work. On January 4th, 2023, Anna's employer in Washington, D.C. reported her missing, prompting a police investigation. The authorities spoke with Brian to gather information about Anna's disappearance. Brian recounted the events leading up to his wife's disappearance. He mentioned that on New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2022, they had dinner together with a friend at their home. The friend stayed until the early hours of January 1st, 2023, before leaving around 1 or 1:30 a.m. According to Brian, Anna informed him during the New Year's Eve gathering that she had to leave for Washington, D.C. the next morning due to a work emergency. He last saw Anna around 6 a.m. when she kissed him goodbye before leaving for her trip. Brian claimed that Anna was supposed to take a rideshare service, either an Uber or a Lyft, to Logan International Airport for her flight to Washington, D.C. As the investigation unfolded, the police sought to piece together the events surrounding Anna's disappearance, relying on Brian's account as a starting point. Brian's day began around 7 a.m. when he woke up in the family home. He prepared breakfast for his 3 sons, a task that occupied him until approximately 3 p.m. With his children under the care of a babysitter, Brian left the house to attend to various errands. Initially, he set out to visit his mother at her condominium in Swampscott, Massachusetts, located about an hour north of Cohasset. Brian estimated his departure time from home to be around 4 p.m., but his journey took longer than usual due to navigation issues, extending the trip by 20 to 30 minutes. Upon reaching his mother's residence, Brian ran errands at a nearby Whole Foods supermarket and a CVS drugstore. He returned to his mother's place with his purchases before heading back to Cohasset, arriving around 8 p.m. However, Brian's account faced skepticism from the police. They found discrepancies in his story, particularly regarding the whereabouts of his wife, Anna, on January 1st. Despite Brian's claims that Anna had left for Washington, D.C., records from both Uber and Lyft revealed no rides corresponding to her supposed trip to the airport. Further doubts arose as Anna failed to appear at the airport, did not report for work in Washington, D.C., and was absent from their apartment in the city. Cell phone pings placed her near the family's Cohasset home on both January 1st and Bryan too, contradicting Bryan's narrative that she was supposed to be elsewhere. Moreover, surveillance footage from Whole Foods and CVS failed to capture Bryan during his alleged visits, and he couldn't provide receipts for his purchases from these stores. The police expanded their investigation to scrutinize Bryan's activities on January 2nd, discovering inconsistencies in his claims. For instance, Bryan stated that he took his sons to a juice bar in Norwell, Massachusetts on January 2nd, with video surveillance corroborating his presence there. However, suspicions lingered, casting doubt on Bryan's credibility amidst the unfolding mystery of Anna's disappearance. Just before 10 a.m. that day, which aligned with his story, surveillance footage revealed another trip Bryan had made that he neglected to mention. He was spotted at a Home Depot in Rockland shortly after 4 p.m., purchasing various cleaning supplies such as tarps, tape, mops, and buckets, totaling $450 paid in cash. Bryan wore blue surgical gloves and a black surgical mask during his visit, a notable detail given his obligation to report such activities while on house arrest. Interestingly, some questioned why the police didn't track Bryan's movements using his ankle monitor. However, it was revealed that the monitor employed radio waves rather than GPS, limiting its capability to determine his exact whereabouts. On January 8th, after several days of fruitless searching for Anna, the police arrested Bryan on charges of misleading them in their investigation. They alleged that Bryan's false information delayed their efforts, potentially allowing him time to tamper with or dispose of evidence. Subsequent searches of the Walsh residence uncovered a damaged knife with blood traces and blood in the basement. By January 17, 2023, Bryan Walsh faced murder charges, to which he pleaded not guilty. The state posited that Bryan had fatally assaulted his wife and disposed of her remains in a dumpster, preventing their recovery as they were likely incinerated before discovery. Despite the prosecution's stance, Bryan maintains the presumption of innocence at this stage. However, the Massachusetts police held a firm belief in his culpability. Let's examine the evidence both for and against Bryan's guilt, beginning with the incriminating factors. In August 2014, before her marriage to Bryan, Anna contacted the police, reporting his threats to kill her. However, Anna did not cooperate further with the investigation, and no arrests were made. This incident sheds light on a troubling aspect of their relationship. Moreover, Bryan's prior conviction for fraud in 2016, involving the sale of counterfeit Andy Warhol paintings, underscores his willingness to engage in illicit activities. While distinct from homicide, it hints at a propensity for breaking the law. Close to her disappearance, Anna expressed a desire for her mother to visit her in Washington, D.C., suggesting underlying marital issues. Additionally, sightings of Anna without her wedding ring in the weeks preceding her disappearance further fueled speculation about the state of their relationship. Bryan Walsh's character has come under scrutiny by those who knew him, describing him as a sociopath, manipulative, charismatic, calculating, angry, and prone to violence. Although some media outlets reported that Bryan had been diagnosed as a sociopath. During a stint at a mental health facility, it's improbable, as that's not an official diagnosis. Clinically, the closest diagnosis would likely be antisocial personality disorder. Following his father's death in 2018, Brian became embroiled in a prolonged legal battle over the estate, with accusations surfacing that he had siphoned nearly $1 million from his father while he was alive. Brian's narrative surrounding Anna's departure for Washington, D.C. raises suspicion. There's no evidence of her being picked up by a ride-share service, reaching the airport, or using her credit cards post-disappearance. Moreover, cell phone activity near their Massachusetts home contradicts Brian's account. His deceit extends to errands supposedly run at Whole Foods and CVS, concealing a suspicious dollar. $450 cash purchase of cleaning supplies from Home Depot. Police discovered a damaged knife with blood in his residence and a stash of Anna's belongings, including a handbag and boots near his mother's residence, along with incriminating tools like a hacksaw and cutting shears. Brian was caught on surveillance near this site. Further undermining his credibility, Brian's internet search history revealed disturbing inquiries. Just days before Anna vanished, he searched for the best state for divorce for a man on his son's iPad. These factors collectively cast doubt on Brian's innocence and suggest a darker motive behind Anna's disappearance. On January 1st, 2023, and the following days, Brian made several disturbing internet searches, indicating his involvement in something sinister. Here are just a few of them. He searched for information on how long it takes for a body to start smelling, how to prevent a body from decomposing, and even 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if necessary. Brian also looked into legal matters, asking how long someone needs to be missing before inheriting and whether one could be charged with murder without a body. He delved into the specifics of identifying remains, including whether DNA lasts long enough for identification and if broken teeth could still lead to recognition. But the searches took a darker turn when Brian inquired about dismemberment methods and the best tools for the task. He explored whether body parts could be disposed of, and if so, how. His searches covered topics such as cleaning blood from wooden surfaces and using luminol to detect blood. Brian's inquiries extended to practical matters, like whether to discard crime scene clothes or wash them. He even sought information on the rate of decomposition of a body found in a plastic bag versus in the woods. Perhaps most chillingly, Brian searched for ways to mask the odor of a decomposing body, including whether baking soda could help. These searches, coupled with other suspicious behavior, painted a disturbing picture, suggesting Brian's involvement in a gruesome crime and his efforts to cover it up. Despite extensive searches and investigations, Anna Walsh's body has never been found. This fact leaves a sliver of hope that she may still be alive, although the circumstances suggest otherwise. In the months leading up to her disappearance, Anna exhibited unusual behavior. She sold off various assets, including a vehicle, and repeatedly hinted at a big surprise in the new year. Perhaps she was planning to escape her life and start anew. Hours before she vanished, Anna left an optimistic note on a champagne box, expressing hope for the future and emphasizing the importance of love and perseverance. However, Brian's internet search history casts a dark shadow over these hopeful signs. His queries about disposing of a body, cleaning up crime scenes, and avoiding murder charges without a body are deeply incriminating. It's difficult to argue against the specificity of these searches, suggesting sinister intentions. Considering all the evidence, it's challenging to believe Brian's innocence. While some factors may raise questions, such as Anna's behavior and the absence of her body, the damning nature of Brian's internet searches weighs heavily against him. What do you think about this case? Stay tuned. We'll catch you with a new nail-biting crime thriller tomorrow.